So the first question is, Mike, it's the beginning of the year and we're coming off of our best year ever. Congratulations. But I've seen some of our recruiters' activities drift. What are some things I can do to maintain a standard of productivity with my existing team members? This is a pretty common occurrence, especially after people come off of a great year. And last year, 2022, for most of the people we work with, was one of their best years, if not their best year ever. If you're not using metrics, and I don't know, I'm going to assume you are, KPIs. This is one of those ways you use KPIs to show people a path to what they want for themselves versus accountability tool that you're going to quote unquote beat them up with when they don't hit. So for example, the way I would hold someone accountable to answer your question here is, let's say their billing goal was 300,000. Let's say at 300,000 in billings in your firm, they're going to make $100,000. One is, have you tested the 100K? Meaning, what I did with my recruiters was, if their goal was 100K, I would say, I want to see how you've allocated all the money you're going to make and that you have specific lows for your income. Because a lot of times if I hired somebody and they wanted to make $100,000, they never made more than 50 or 60 before, for example. And you can, these numbers obviously, so if they want to make more money than they've made before, that is aspirational money, okay? What I'm looking for is, what would they do with that aspirational money? So let's say they wanted to make 100,000. Let's assume state and local taxes, federal taxes, Social Security, let's say that eats up 30 grand, plus or minus. So you're down to 70,000 net. Most people don't do that. They think 100,000, you're at 70,000 net at 100,000. And let's say their bills total 50,000 a year, rent or mortgage, car payments, taking care of their family. There's a $20,000 delta, meaning there's $20,000 that is aspirational. What I found early in my career as a manager, both as a sales manager for a publicly traded company and as a recruiting firm manager, is some people, without any help from you whatsoever, know exactly what they want to do with that money, and they want to know how to make it. Two, a lot of times people just think, wow, it'd just be nice. I could probably take nicer vacations, get a better car. All those things, they're not defined. That's the challenge, is they're not defined. I have no judgment to what those things are, and I don't care where anyone wants to take their aspirational money. But I don't want aspirational money just to be aspirational. I want it defined. I want it to have a defined address to go to. So I would just tell people, and I would, if this is, if this is your challenge with people, what I would invite you to do is sit down with them and have them do that breakdown. Go through your checkbook, go through your checking statements, and where did your money go the last few months? What is your monthly nut? What is the monthly you want to make? And then where would this aspirational money be allocated? Is it to remove credit card debt? Is it to get a better car? If so, what is the car? What is the down payment? What are the monthly payments? Is it a better vacation? Exactly, specific and precisely. Where do you want to go? Don't tell me the beach. Don't tell me the islands. Don't tell me a ski trip. I want to go to Vail and I want to stay at the Four Seasons. And in season, that's $1,000 a night. And I want to go for a week. Great. Now you're looking at, with flights and all the other stuff, probably a $10,000 to $12,000 trip. No judgment. This is the key for those of you running a firm, or if you're a solo operator, to define your revenue goal. It's going to be more on billings, net of expenses, not commissions. It's the same exact process. Pile all those up. That is your real goal. Is that what you're going to go to war for? Or is that ski trip a nice to have? Because my experience is 60, 70% of the people aren't motivated enough to push through the level of discomfort that they need to for a nice to have versus, I really want this. It doesn't mean they need it. I think most of us have significantly more than we need. We need shelter, we need some food, we need some water. That's what our needs are. It's beyond that. It's giving yourself permission to aspire to that. And then what I've done with a couple clients, and I did this with a couple of my own recruiters, if it was a trip where they could put a small down payment, I would say, book the trip. What if I don't make it? The only reason you won't make it is you won't execute to your targets. And that's the whole thing. That's just another sidebar in metrics. That is the beauty of metrics. At $300,000, and for those of you who've been around for a while, you've heard me do this math. Let's just say an average fee of $25,000, so I can do the math easy. That's 12 placements a year or a placement a month. Conservatively, 8 first-time interviews to a placement. Our clients are 6.5, but conservatively 6 placements a month, or eight interviews to 1 placement per month is 2 interviews per week. 2 interviews per week is probably 30 to 40 candidate conversations, depending on your desks and your ability. If you're all contingency, maybe you need to take 4 job orders to make 1 placement. That's 4 job orders a month. It's about 13 marketing conversations to a job order. Let's say it's 15, so I can do the math easy again. That's 3 a day. 3 times 5 is 15. So if I'm at, say, 7 recruit presentations a day and 3 marketing conversations a day, that's 10 conversations a day. That means I'll bill $300,000. I've never seen it not. 20 years as a search firm owner, 15 years as a coach. I've never seen someone hit their KPIs that were honest KPIs and not hit their billing target. So this is a great question, and I'm spending a lot of time with it because there's a lot of moving parts to it. The way you hold people accountable. So let's go back to that 300K billings, 100K earnings. They say they want the trip to Vail, a ski trip, it's $12,000, and they want to eliminate $8,000 in credit card debt. Good goals. Eats up all of the 20. And I check and I double check when you're going to go on the trip, because maybe that's a year out now, which is fine. I'd have them book it, or I'd have them book the room, maybe not the flights, but book the room. And I would want to see, how do we know we're on target? We're on target when you're getting 8 interviews a month, not when you make $25,000 a month. Placements are an 8 to 12 week lead trailing indicator of your performance. It's if they're rigidly committed to that goal of having 100,000 in life, and that algebra equation takes you to 300,000 in billings based on everything I just said, it's getting them to 2 interviews a week. It's getting them to 10 conversations a day or 50 a week. You will know tomorrow at the end of business if they are on target. Did they talk to 10 people? It is literally that simple. And a lot of times when I set goals with people, I would check their numbers at the first day. I didn't micromanage and check their numbers every day. Sometimes I just checked it after the first day to see how serious they were. And let's say they were averaging 7 and they come in the next day at 7 combined conversations. I'm like, Mr. and Ms. Recruiter, you're not serious. Like, you're not going to do 300 grand. Like, how can you say that it's only been a day? Because you yesterday mimicked your other performance, which was a 200K year. I like a 200K year. I'm not going to fire you over 200K a year, but your performance didn't change the way you committed to changing it. So do we change your performance tomorrow, or do we lower? Unless their number falls below a number at which they're no longer profitable with you, or if you're a solo operator, unless that number falls below a level you're not comfortable with yourself, abandon the goal and admit to yourself you're really not willing to work for it. But there's no in between. You're either going to work toward it or you're going to adjust the number. So thank you so much for that question. Fantastic question.